Well, welcome everyone to a special edition tonight. I want to share with you something that I feel is really important that we all need to know before we start heading into the next phase of who knows what is going to happen around the corner. So let me just share my screen with you so you can see what we're talking about tonight. Okay, I've entitled this one, Are You Prepared? Are you really prepared? Do you know what's going to happen next? Because it's such all the balls up in the air. We've had earthquakes, tornadoes, we've had uh, social media outages. Now, these things we wouldn't never think that we were going to see tornadoes, earthquakes, social media outages all in the space of 2 weeks, right? It's a bit crazy what's going on. And so, are you prepared for what's coming next? Who knows what that could be? But if you keep your ear close to the ground, there's some really important information that's coming up. For example, I was listening on to the radio last Monday, and the the woman in charge of emergency, who gets to say the emergencies, that the powers that be that gets to say, okay, we are going into lockdown because it's an emergency. She was on the radio on 2GB talking to the reporter, and she said, well, this won't be the last pandemic that we see in our lifetime. Now, the journalist just whizzed by right and just went, look, we'll deal with that when it comes. But for right now, and he moved on with the next conversation. But I want you to realize this may not be the last pandemic that we see. And, you know, there could be all kinds of things happening. If we have a major blackout, are you prepared? If there's a next wave of illness, are you prepared? Are you prepared financially for if somebody in your family is unwell? Are you prepared for job loss? Are you prepared for health issues? Okay, these are some of the things that we are facing right now. Debt, low income, loneliness, depression. These are things that happen to all of us, and we all need a plan B. There's no good waiting until something happens. And are you going to be ready? You know, we've had to go through homeschooling. Hopefully we can see some light at the end of the tunnel. Some of you might be in the sweet spot of your life, and you might find that some things have happened in the last 18 months and things are looking good for you. That's great. And we want that. But you do need to plan for the, for the plan B, the curveball. And the curveball comes for everyone at different times, in different ways. And so I want to help you think through some of these things. Now, you know, even this year has been so different to last year. We have gone through some real hardships this year that people did not expect. They thought, okay, we weathered it pretty well last year. We got through COVID and we're going to be fine. And maybe that might happen. Maybe we'll see things go back to normal, but maybe not. Maybe things will just, progressively get a little bit harder. You know, things are not going to look necessarily the same as they will again, because now we have never seen politics the way that it is, mandatory vaxxers the way that they are, censorship the way that it is. And so who knows what will be next. But the one thing that I can tell you is that if you go back 100 years ago, or even 10 years ago, I want you to realize where we are at in society today. And I've been doing a lot of research and study on this. And 100 years ago, did you know that homeopathy and natural medicines were widely used. And it was more common to go get, a spoonful of medicine, right? Homeopathy was more common than actually going to a doctor. And if you think about the 1800s, doctors were gruesome. They a lot of terrible things were happening around the medical industry. And we feel like, okay, well, thank goodness we don't have all the problems that we had back then. But guess what? Just because we're in the modern era doesn't mean that our health system has got any better. Okay, we are dealing with diseases and things that they didn't deal with back in the 1800s. Why? I'm going to tell you, a lot of it has to do with because we are really a fast-paced society. We like things right now. We like the quick and the easy. But not that we like it, it's just that we've been conditioned that way. That when you want a fix for something, a medicine, you take a pill. There's a pill for an ill. And they actually termed that phrase back in the 40s, there's a pill for everything. And things got away from being in natural form to being in a chemical form, in what's the word? I'm going to say synthetic form. Okay, we got away from being natural and botanical to synthetics, and it's become a problem. So we want quick fixes for our health. The media influence has changed the way that we identify with ourselves as families, that we identify with ourself, our own image. And, people look for a quick fix, a quick way out of relationship issues, getting divorced, or, getting a nose job, or getting a boob job, or getting something is going to be a quick fix then to the way that we take responsibility for our choices, or we alter our habits. We have got out of the system of being totally responsible for ourselves and our lives to shifting the responsibility on others. And I think this has come at a huge detriment to society. It's come at a huge detriment to how we deal with problems and how we're teaching our children to deal with problems. And it's, we're a welfare society. If you can't get a job, you get on welfare. If it's socially unacceptable to use certain words. Political correctness is can't so far that we have to turn to the government for what to say and what's acceptable and what's okay. And when we have broken down the unit of the family so much over these decades, that what do people do? They actually turn to the government for support. And so you can see how society has shifted the importance and the roles on mothers, the importance of the roles on fathers. There's just a nondescript, the modeling is all shifted for the namesake of being independent, finding out who you are, and disregarding values, wholesome family values that were once held our society together are being disintegrated. And I think that has, it's come taken effect on medicine, on health, on families, on you can see this whole arching effect that we've had. And we need to take stock and go, what's important to us? Come back to our values, come back to really slowing down And I hope that over these last few months that if you've been in lockdown with us, that it's given you some time of reflection, that it's given you some time to think about what's important to you. Some people have really loved having family time. They've loved not being able to have a lot of those distractions. And I guess for the introverts, that's been fabulous. I know I've missed a lot of being able to be out there with in gatherings and with people, and because I'm a social being and I love to connect with others. And so, I have this real passion for self-reliance. It's coming back to one's own self and being able to be accountable for your own self and your own actions, and having everything that you need, not having to rely on someone else to give it to you. So I hope that that in whatever the next little while looks like, that we take time and take stock and go, okay, what is important? How do I get my health back? If you haven't lost it, I suggest getting off the chemical trail and doing a 30 days of clean eating, clean detoxing. Speak to me if you want to know more about that. But change your habits so that they're not reliant on what the government dishes out. The government loves to be the saviors. They love you to take the handouts. They love you to think that they have all the control, and you don't need to be taken in by that. You have all the power within you, that if you wanted to live your dreams, go start a business, go be a leader in your life, that you can. You don't have to wait for permission from somebody else to give that to you. So I want to stress that we use our time wisely, think about what's important to us, make plans, research, ask for help. Now, whilst I believe in being self-reliant, I don't believe I'm doing it alone. I believe we need community, we need connection. When we're separated, that causes stress. But when we are able to network together, to support and use communication, that we can make anything happen. And we need to find ways of connecting more, not connecting less. So I love this quote. I don't know if somebody else said it, but I know I've been saying it a lot, so you can quote me on it. But I always say, nobody's getting out of here alive. You don't get to the end of your life alive. We're all going to die, but it's how you live that counts, not how you die. And whilst I plan to live a very long life, I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be full of connection. I want it to make a difference. I want to know that I did not give my substance to somebody else, that I didn't give away my permission to be valued, to be heard, to be able to be in control of my physical functions to somebody else. We don't need to really take on debilitating illnesses as we get older. Who said that we have to grow old, sick, and then die? No, we just grow old, and then, at some point we will die, but we don't need to be sick and die. And so the last 15 years, I've been living my life chemical-free. Chemical-free in what I eat, chemical-free in what I put on my skin. Now that's two most fundamental things to your health, is what you put in your body and what you put on your skin. And I'm here to tell you, you can have great health. You don't have to have pain. You don't have to have inflammation. You just have to be aware. And I love that Arbonne allows you to do that easily. I think that if I didn't have the knowledge that I have around plant-based foods and be able to do that easily around what Arbonne supplies, then I would struggle, because I didn't always know how to take care of my health. I didn't always know that I could easily eat clean, and it's made a magnificent difference to be able to know that there's companies out there who are looking after the planet, who are looking after the world, who do care about how people are treated when they make products and they employ people, and that they wages. That if you follow B certified, B Corporation certified companies, that you are looking after the planet. And I know that through my studies, that the medical industry 100 years ago booted out anyone who was in the world of homeopathy and the world of naturopathy, and they took control of the whole medical industry, starting with the USA. We all follow in their footsteps, but starting with you, and booted out all that beautiful natural healthy medicine and called it quackery. And so it was deemed unscientific, and it was unlawful, and people were put into jail for talking about herbs and natural medicine. And because they couldn't monetize it well, they kicked it out, and they replaced it with synthetics, and they replaced it with drugs that keep you well a little bit and kill you off slowly. And so that's, if you want to research any of that, I'm going to do another talk on that, because I've researched that whole entire industry, and it's quite incredible how the money can make people do crazy things, right? And the medical industry kicked out the naturopathic industry, the good chiropractors out there, the homeopathic industry, and replaced it with non-consultation drugs and physicians that really did not have anything to do with their patients. And I love that in my practice in Arbonne, I'm able to really consult with people and help them through their health. And without our health, what do we have? We don't have much, right? So we need to look after our health like it's gold. It's number one thing on the planet. And teach our kids. Now, I'm just going to say one more thing that's a little bit radical for me. That as I've been doing my research and how life has shifted over these last 100 years, and the family values, that I have been focused on my career. I've been focused on developing myself so that I can be the best in my industry that I can be. And with a little thought in the background, like, my kids are okay. They're going to have their turn at going for their dreams. And when it's their turn, I'm going to help them. But actually, I lost sight of how I am supporting them through their homeschooling at their young, tender age. And what's happening? They're being brought up on devices. Having homeschooling doesn't help, because they have a reason to be on devices from 9 till 3, right? And so they're losing touch with some of the values that we want to instill in them, and the connections that we want to instill in them. And so, if I have to take time off of my own career and focus on their needs, it's well worth that investment. It's well worth being there for them and helping them, train them, because look what we've got to, and look at where we're going. If we don't hold on to each other, our family values, our core values, then, where will we be in the next 10 years even, right? A cashless society with no connection, with no hugging and no personal connection. So Hopefully when we get back together in person, I hope to give you guys a big squeeze, and those that I have missed, and let's stay connected in the meantime. So thank you for watching. You can reach out to me on any of my channels in Discover Mind Body Skin Australia on Facebook, on Self-Reliance and Food Storage on Telegram, there on Instagram, Kelly Wilkins _Mind Body Health. Reach out to me in any of those places, and I would love to connect with you if you have felt anything that I said has resonated with you this evening. So all the best. Stay well. Be well. Bye for now.